Control police. That's what it said right there. Oh. Read the last part then.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go in the same conversation. It's okay, baby. She said, what if I die deep, coming after me? I ain't going in there. I ain't going in there.
Hi, good evening, guys. How are we doing today?
Good evening. Doing good.
Doing good.
Good evening.
Evening.
Okay, good. Glad that all of you are here, and we're going to start this evening with our persons who was fighting us, saying that they didn't get an opportunity to speak. We're at week 7. Congratulations, you're almost there. So definitely you're gonna make it. 3 more weeks. Most of you have done your homework, so very good. Grades for homework should come out this evening. Most of you have your points for your civic organization, and we all know who have their points for participation. So if you don't have your points for participation in week 7, Miss Bullet still don't know you, please chime in. And our regulars, please give the persons the opportunity to speak. Now, they have 15 minutes to put up their hands, or our regulars need to kick in. Okay.
Well, so, I have to put up my hand, Miss. I have to put up my hand, Miss Bullet. Let me raise
you put
it
your
now.
hand up last. You put your hand up last, because let them have a chance and make sure everybody get in in their 5 cents, okay? But if you have newspaper to share or civic organizations, please put your hand up so we can ensure that everybody gets on the list. Okay, and we see right out the back, Hasty has a hand up. Hasty, get your 5 points.
Hi. Sorry, I haven't been
Hasty.
that participating. I've been doing a lot of OT. But yes, I did attend Rotary this week, and it was at Latitudes. It was basically about technology and its pros and cons, and kids using technology to aid in school, and how we need to monitor it to make sure that they are using it in that regard that is beneficial and it's not, disadvantageous to them. Also, I read the newspaper, and of course the AG was blaming the MINIS administration for us being on a black list in regards to the European Union economic demands. So yeah.
Okay, so how can he blame? What did he say? What did the MINIS administration not do? Because I saw that Quasi Thompson wrote a whole article blaming the PLP, saying that they were supposed to meet a certain deadline and they missed it. So who's truly to blame?
He just was saying that it was flawed. Their approach was flawed to comply into it. Let me see. I could see if I find another article.
Sorry,
okay,
if
more about your
projecting. I'm driving, so
okay,
please bear with me.
Okay.
But he really was blaming them, saying that they messed it up, basically messed up the setup to get us in order, which in they already had a system with a New Zealand company giving them what they was fixing the problem for the system that they have for the foreigners who own businesses, so they can be compliant with the tax law, I think. And they were.
I think that's right.
He was saying that
it took long.
After them made it difficult for them to sing them, and they didn't really fix anything what they were supposed to fix. But the F&M party representative was saying that they did have everything in place, but their time was up, so they couldn't do the final thing that needed to be done to get it up and running, which in the Davis administration was made aware of all things that needed to be done, and it was all it needed to do. It was at the closing stage, but because their time was up in office, they couldn't do it. And that's why
how they had electronic problems with databases and what's not. So they had a lot of little hurdles that they just wasn't able to get over.
Right. So, okay. So let's think about the CFATF Mutual Evaluation Agreement. Most of us should be familiar with that by now. When the agreement came out, it was in 2017. Who was in power in 2017? The PLP or the F&M? I think it was the PLP. Okay. So when we first got the report, the PLP would have received that we were deficient in 22 of the 40 recommendations. The government then changed. We went from being deficient in 22 to largely compliant in 30 and partially compliant in 10. So I would think that is progress, no?
Yeah, I think it's progress.
And that would have happened. I don't think the PLP in 2017, the government changing, they had the opportunity to fix anything. So I would think that whatever they started, the F&M saw it through to get us to be largely compliant. Now, of course, we saw that there were some hiccups. There was a pandemic. So really, the F&M can say, well, we couldn't do anything for the last 2 years except save our country. We couldn't look at you know, policy and procedure and law, it was a pandemic. But nevertheless, we still fixed 22. We fixed the 22 deficiencies to become compliant. Now, there were like the tax law where we updated the tax law, but we only made it punishable for VAT and customs duty if you evaded those. But internationally, of course, with FAC and CRS, they wanted to say that you would be punishable for that. Of course, we know that was the premise, but remember now, we were a tax haven in offshore jurisdiction. So I think that was an intentional or deliberate miss for persons to be able to exit the jurisdiction before the Bahamas started prosecuting people. And not only the Bahamas did that, many jurisdictions did that. Okay, and because you still have to save the economy, especially during a pandemic. So I would say that considering the pandemic, considering the 22 deficiencies, and this partially compliant relating to 10, I think the FNM did what they were supposed to do. They did not drop the ball.
Right, they just feel as if they're doing this blame game right now.
Of course, yeah, because the opposition is always only there to oppose, and whether it's the truth or not, we could say somebody it ain't our fault. Right. Yeah. Okay, so that's why I say when you read a newspaper article, the first thing you know, who is this person affiliated with? Where's their mindset? Are they there to oppose? Are they a fair person, or will they just tell the blatant truth? And then as you read on, you'll see that this person a little bit, you know, left or a little bit right. Like I always say, you watch CNN News or you watch Fox News. CNN heavily supports the Democrats. Fox heavily supports the Republicans. So you can't listen to none of them. None of them what is a bipartisan type of show. So yeah, it depends on who you support. Yeah, but like I said, we know the fact because we've been looking extensively at the CFATF mutual evaluation. So we know better. So very, very good article, Hasty, and again, good one to follow. Let's see how long we are blacklisted, and let's see what Pinder does to get it off. He's been very influential. He has done a lot to, you know, to get us where we are. But it's just a blame game right now. Yeah. Okay, good. Very, very good. So tell us more about your Rotary meeting.
So yeah, it was just talking about technology and how the kids are using it today. And, you know, like a lot is going on out there in regards to the influences on these social media platforms and what's not, and our kids are exposed to it. So they're using it for educational purposes. And it's so crazy because I could relate as an adult as well. It's just that sometimes I need a break from some of them because it's a lot of negativity, but then it's also a lot of positivity. And you don't want to, I feel like coming off of social media, you get left behind because the world is moving and social media is keeping up with the world as it goes. And I feel like you're left behind if you isolate yourself from them. So it's just a matter of balancing it and monitoring for kids' sake. I guess they have a lot of parental controls, and you could really learn a lot from at all ages on social media, on the internet, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it was just more so about that, managing kids and technology.
Right. So yeah, it is important to use the parental controls. It is important to manage it. In fact, when my kids were younger, the only reason I went on Facebook was because I wanted to monitor them, make sure they wasn't talking to nobody who they wasn't supposed to, and, you know, give them advice when I saw them posting things that I didn't think was appropriate. And then I realized I could use it for work as well. So I started attaching the news and stuff like that, and that helped. But so if you raise up a child properly, you know, he shouldn't depart from it. So along with you, it's what you teach them as well, you know. And a lot I instill in my kids, you know, don't disappoint mommy. Love is a two-way street. I'm working hard. I give you all my money. I need good grades. I need respect. I need you to give back. Yeah, and I
that
say,
sounds a little entitled, man.
no, I say love is a two-way street.
It sounds a little entitled. I need you to give back.
Yeah, what is your part?
I tell my children the same thing.
If
when
love is a two-way street,
all I asking for is those good grades.
Yeah, and be balanced.
I mean, I think it does place a little bit of pressure on kids though, because a lot of times we need to focus on the strengths and weaknesses of our own kids and not really have it centered around, you know, like let's say for an example, some people have like, they have little struggles in the main things like English and maths. That could really disappoint you as a parent because that could really affect the child's growth, whether it's high school, college, what's not, because we heavily rely on those two subjects. Some kids just need more attention in those areas and not to disappoint you, but to embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, Steve, listen to me. I'm not, even though I'm a lecturer, I'm not about the grades. All through my family, I have an uncle that speaks 10 different languages, does not work because he's too smart. I have another cousin who he was older, he got 13 A's in the BGCSE. He's out on drugs, okay? And so my daughter, she's a 4.0. She was the head girl. We were all proud of her, but she was the only child I ever had to beat. Okay, so I'm all about balance. I want you to have sufficient grades to be able to take care of yourself, but you need to be socially balanced. Right. And so I put in softball and, you know, various curricular activities, like she was in Key Club and Girl Guides, so she would know how to deal with people, because I've already seen it in my family. We don't have a problem with education. We have a problem with social, you know, being able to be balanced, right? Yeah, so I think, you know, our parents were too strict, and I think we are a little bit too slack, right? Yeah. But you look at what your child needs, and I didn't push. You must get this 4.0. You know, she, you know, always push that she's the smartest, and she would, you know, that's what made her feel good. But I said, you may be the smartest, but manners and respect is the only child I about to be. So yeah, balance is the key. So so very good. Yeah, and like I say, would you teach them? And I said, you know, meet me halfway. You want to lay up in the air condition? You have to do okay. That's just my day. You are go on vacation, and you want to spend your money. You have to. Yeah. Okay. Very good, AC. Thank.
You're welcome.
Is LaToya there?
I'm here. Sorry, my internet.
No? Okay, we'll come back to LaToya. Oh.
Sorry, my internet is in and out. Sorry.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Miss Fuller, what you have me for? I rewatched the class last week, and I was uncertain as to what you have me listed for. So I need to do my civic organization night. Miss Bullard?
Sorry, I was muted. I pulling it up right now to see exactly what list I have you on. Okay. But I don't think you've been talking to me as much as you normally do.
No, sorry. I have a lot going on. So I try to be in class, but you know, still deal with other stuff too. But I did go to my Toastmasters Tuesday. Action for Achievers. And Am I breaking up?
No, we can hear you. Okay, I was just saying I have you on no list, LaToya.
What? You should.
Let me see. Nope, I don't even have you on homework list.
No, I don't. I do my homework yet. I do homework this week. But
Yeah.
you should have had me at least. What did I speak about? A few things. I'll email you. But I do
Okay.
my civic organization. I went to a Toastmasters meeting on Tuesday past, and their president was Mr. Rodney Boodle. It was a pretty straightforward meeting. They had two speaker cancellations, and a icebreaker. The icebreaker was a lady name is, where is it? Miss Bain, Lynette Bain. And she spoke about how to live a lonely, happy life. They had a substitute speaker just sporadically.
Wait, say that again. How to live a what happy life?
How to live a lonely, happy life.
Well, how
That's
you
the
do that?
oxymoron.
I need to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I listen to me.
Latoya, explain it.
I can't even explain it because she was repeating herself.
You're gonna have to explain something because
Confusion.
that's a little do for me.
Listen, this is what it was called. It was called How to Live a Lonely, Happy Life. She went on to say how persons would appreciate living alone, and they need to know when to be alone and to be happy with your decisions. She started to say how persons who live alone would find not chores, like hobbies, gardening, farming, home restaurants, physical activities, and stuff like that. But she was pretty much repeating everything. It went on for like 10 minutes. They had to, they actually cited her for that because she went over her a lot of time.
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
They were alone but not lonely. That's two different things.
Listen, I'm telling you what she wrote on. She wrote on how to live a lonely, happy life.
Oh, all right then.
My head hurt when I heard it too. You're not alone. Then this was one of the meetings that I decided after this particular meeting that this particular club was not for me. I visited one earlier this year, and I think I'm going to go back to that one because a lot of older folks were in this particular group. So like I was saying, they had a spontaneous speaker. He's a Toastmaster as well, DTM Albury. He spoke about a boy has got to get his groove on. Listen to me. I thought that I was talking about how he met this woman and he wanted to, everything of a sexual content, but it wasn't that. He was talking about sugar cane. And I'm like, what is this? This is not the club for me. So they did go on to their lexicologist, and their word of the day was esprit de corps, which means a feeling of pride and a mutual loyalty shared by members of a group. And yeah, that was really interesting. And that's pretty much it. So I didn't like that meeting at all. I did get bored at some point, but yeah. I didn't read any newspaper articles this week. I was too tied up. But yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, thank you, Latoya, for sharing. Sounds interesting, but sorry that you didn't like it. But good that you're gonna go back to your next.
Yeah, the previous one, they actually
Or you went out. I didn't hear you. You said they actually. Okay, I think we might have lost Latoya. Okay, thank you, Latoya. Avery.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
I did have a chance to attend a webinar that was held by Securities Commission yesterday. And it was really good. It was about the DARE Act, which is the Digital Asset Registered Exchange Act.
Oh, good. I'm glad you attended that. I was wondering if people saw that notice. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was held by Securities Commission. I think Christina Rule, Executive Director. Yeah, she spearheaded it. And it just was going into depth. I think this particular act was introduced in 2020, and I think they made some improvements and defined more stuff in the act to accommodate this digital asset, cryptos, and all of these things. So the DARE Act just provides the Security Commission to regulate the issuance, sales, and trade of the digital assets within the Bahamas. And underneath that, it goes just on to say that they will have the authority to suspend, revoke registration, and so on. They would have the right to refuse application as a digital asset business. They made the penalties more clearer and can enforce more administrative sanctions. What else? They also established a digital assets policy committee, which would be chaired by the Prime Minister and the governor of the central bank and the executive director of the Securities Commission.
Okay.
They went on to say how the SCB takes a risk-based approach when it comes to the CFT supervision of this act. And that was pretty much it. It was only an hour or so.
Okay, and it was online?
Yeah, I do have the replay video of it. I think they sent to me today, and the link I could probably pass it on.
Okay, thank you. That would be nice. You can send it to the email.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you need to know, like I say, the terminology. When persons start to talk about digital assets, what they mean, who regulates it, about this committee. Like my first thing, why would the Prime Minister be on it? But you know, I know a back story where somebody said FTX actually approached the government, and you know that's one of the new digital firms that is regulated by the Securities Commission, and they said, look, we want to come to the Bahamas, and this is the guy, what is his name? Fred, or is it Adam? I know I told you all to follow him before, but he approached the government and said, listen, I really need y'all to put the laws in place so I can come and establish my business. And you have to really be making big money if you're going to approach your government and they're going to listen to you, right? And so as he was coming, what really pushed the government is that one day, I think he had either 14 million, and it went from 14 million to 16 million to 20 million to 22 million. I got him in 3 days. Sam Bankman-Fried, you all should know him. I think he's 29, you know? And
yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, he's 29.
But I think they said the FTX will have representation at, I think they've also put together an advisory panel. I think they're going to be a part of that also, because they said that would be compromised from the industry practitioners and leading experts. So that's actually 2 different committees that they'll be doing.
Okay.
One is the advisory panel and the other will be the policy committee, digital asset policy committee.
Right, and again, follow these committees, see what they do. A lot of people will just stay away from it because it's new, and you have to learn a lot. But if you start now, you in a few years you will be expert at it. So I encourage people to, like I say, follow it, understand it, and so when persons speak of it, you'll be knowledgeable. And again, like I said, I think he has either 20. Is it 22 million or 22 billion?
I think billion.
It's million.
I believe so.
Yeah, it must be, you say billion, Avery, or million? B or M?
I think it's B, I think.
Yeah, billion, yeah. So 29 years old. Yeah, yeah. These are the people that y'all need to hang out with. Okay?
She did mention that they were
what they do. Sorry?
Ms. Roll did mention that they were gonna do, or have plans to do a course at, I think, UB on this. ACA was not, so that's something to look up for too.
Yes, yes. So definitely sign up and learn, and don't be surprised if y'all see Miss Bullet sitting up in that class.
I think she said it won't be till late next year, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So very, very good. And be in the forefront, and you have to start, like I said, start to think about ways to make money. And I always say, whoever you hang out with on the weekend, one of you should be going to that class. That's going to be the new norm. That's going to be the way of the future. And in a few years, it's going to be closed out. You know, it's going to be very hard to infiltrate. So whilst it's new and in its developmental stage, get your feet in the door and get, you know, start to learn about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing. Let me add you to the list. Right.
I'll pass it on because it has all types of information about how the transparency of beneficial owners and all that will come into play.
Okay, so you found this extremely beneficial and you're happy that you attended?
I'm still going through it. I mean, I haven't really completed it yet. Still going through some more information.
Okay, okay, very good, very good. It's a whole new world out there for most of us, okay? But learn about it, okay? All right, very, very good. Yasmin?
Sorry, still driving. Man, y'all go. But I wanted to piggyback off of what Hasty started to say. They actually put us on the gray list. I think now we are, it's definite. Look at it, it's definite that we would be going on the blacklist because we are not fully compliant. I don't. Yeah, baby, it's okay. Shh, mommy in class. So sorry. So, oh, I forget. Miss Bullet, man.
You said we're gonna go on the blacklist permanently.
Yeah, we might go on the blacklist, and we may not have a chance. No, not permanently. We won't have a chance to get off or be considered to come off. Not until 2023. Like I think May or something, May or March 2023.
Yeah, that's when their technical department meets in May of each year, I think.
Yeah, that's when it's gonna be set in stone. But I think that, I don't know, and you can correct me, but I was just wondering if that would give us some time to become compliant fully, or, you know, mostly.
I have to read into it because I don't understand what, if we are partially compliant, somebody should advocate that we shouldn't be gray listed, because that means we have an action plan in place. You all have approved our plan and it's just a matter of time. You all have a reason why it's not been implemented into law. So I don't understand it. So I really have to go and look at those 10 partially compliant recommendations and see exactly what it was. Because I know a big one was the EU was pushing hard, blacklist them because of the tax, right? And I said, okay,
yeah,
I understand.
That was the main thing on the tax.
Yeah, but we fixed that in December 2020. We fixed that. I think they staggered because one or two their very major investors needed to leave the jurisdiction, you know, and it was hard to open up accounts after 2018, and then had to find some jurisdictions that had very savvy managers that could tell you how to avoid. You see, and so it took corporations and governments a long time to open up new accounts. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but they actually did brought it to their attention so that they.
Okay, Yasmin, you're breaking up. Okay, I gotta look into it because that's confusing. There's no way, like I say, I have to see what it is actually we did not do for the threat. Now I know in 2020, the CFATF wanted to come into the FIU and they were concerned about the amount of people being prosecuted. The pandemic came and they were unable to come. And so that's the only thing I know that they haven't been able to verify, but I'll look into it and see exactly which 10 and what reason it is. And so we can be abreast of what's really going on.
I don't even think that it's fair. I don't think that it's fair that it's like that, because we had a whole pandemic, the entire world, and we are a small country. Like, come on, we don't have, I don't think we have the manpower to even, like, we was focused. Our unemployment rate went up to almost 70% or something like that. Like, how they expect us like to live?
Right. Like I said, I'm going to look into it. And then again, other countries, it was not only us, almost every country in the world had deficiencies. And so I am truly going to look into it. But like I say, it always comes back to, do you have a seat at the table? No, you don't. And so nobody is there advocating for the Bahamas. And nobody is there saying, this is ludicrous. We have 10 partially compliant. That means we have a plan in place. What do you mean we're being blacklisted until for another year? That something, it's something major. I'll read upon it to find out what it is. It just, I don't
think that there's any empathy there. No, I understand.
No, be at the competition, Yasmin, there's no empathy. You basically asking the PLP to give FNM a chance. Oh, don't go out and talk to his constituency. Don't give his constituency money. Don't pay up the road in his constituency, because they'll vote for him. They ain't doing nothing for his constituency, because they want you to know that they in power and you have the vote for them if you want some stuff done. So it's the same premise. It's like asking a PLP to give a word of encouragement for an FNM so they could win the election. We are the competitors. If the Bahamas is closed down for business, the investors are gonna go elsewhere. Trade is gonna go elsewhere. Everybody is doing anything possible for their economy to rebound. Remember, this pandemic affected the world, right? Not just the Bahamas. So everybody is desperate. Everybody is desperate. Everybody is desperate for their tax dollar. And so they don't care about another jurisdiction. They definitely don't care about the Bahamas. You know, and then we have the Prime Minister standing up there and saying, it's because we Black. It ain't because we Black. Okay, so anyway, very, very good. I'm just going to look into it. And again, I ask you as well to look into, so we can have a proper discussion and find out exactly what recommendations are they blacklisting us for when we have a plan in place and they've approved the plan. Okay, so very good. Lanique.
Evening, everyone. I just wanted to piggyback off of what you was talking about with FTX, and ask you what you think about it, because from when they approach, I heard the same thing, that they approached the government to come here and all that stuff like that. And I heard that they had hired like a dray load of Bahamians, and then slowly but surely they let them go, because I know a few people who were let go. And so like it's only a small amount of actual Bahamians who actually working there now. But she claims that we're not qualified to work there.
Which is true.
I know that's true, but I'm sure that they bargain and say, we was gonna hire the people.
Well, of course, but really, in order to come to the Bahamas, you only have to spend $750,000 and build a building, and they already buy the land out west. So they're building, and they would have been approved, right? And like I say, obviously, the government put you ever see policy and law go in place fast like that ever in your life?
No.
2-3 years, come on, just to satisfy one company now, one mega billionaire.
Wow.
So I don't even think, because I have 2 colleagues that work there, and one was ready to resign because, you know, she was like, oh, that's work, you know, and it's because she is not familiar. Nobody is, it's new. It's new,
yeah.
and nobody knows the risk, and it ain't like you could copy it from anywhere else as you go along. It's a trial and error process, and a lot of people don't wanna, you know, they're used to, like, if you work in Royal or Scotia or what have you, the parent sends down the policy and procedure, and that's how policies are established. Whereas with something new, just recreating it. And a lot of us are not qualified to create policy and procedures. And we ain't reading what happened internationally. We ain't reading the law of the Cayman. We ain't reading the other jurisdictions who already gone out there and bucked their toe. And so to make sure we don't make the same mistake. Okay, so they pay you a lot of money, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah, I hear this pay good, but I mean, she was only there, my friend was only there for 5 months, and then they let her go. Say every quarter they do like an exercise to see who's performing to their standard and who's not. But she said they brought in like experts to fill a spot and it was 28 of them would go on in that rush. She's saying they brought in experts and 22 of them was Bahamians. So.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, like they create an entire industry. It's just now that we need to educate ourselves to you know, keep up with it, with the ever-changing times.
Okay.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, Yasmin, your hand up again. You want these people put you on the class? Say, yes, Yasmin.
No, sorry, I didn't know I put that up again. Oh. Sorry, okay,
sorry. All right. We thought you had the best to say. And that's no problem at all. That's no problem at all. We appreciate your feedback, and thank you for being so enthusiastic every week. So very good.
But I just want to ask one question to the class. Anybody that had attended the Kiwanis meeting, can you please just message, because I really want to actually join that organization. Probably after the class end, because it's little do right now. Or never mind, after I pay my school fee, little do. But just message in the group so that I can, you know when that is happening.
I think that was Latoya who, you said Rotary, right?
No, Kiwanis.
Kiwanis, oh, okay. I'm not certain who went to Kiwanis. Hopefully they will share with you. Okay. Very, very good, guys. So chapter 7 talks about our last chapter of risk. I would hope by now, we pulled it up the wrong book. I would hope by now that we have an understanding of what risk is. Ms. Bullet has the wrong book. Just give me one. And somebody knocking on the door. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. But start to look at chapter 7. 1 second for me, please. Okay, guys, thank you for holding. So we've covered 4 chapters of risk. Do we understand risk appetite? Do we understand risk assessment? Do we know what a risk rating is? Do we understand risk on the 3 levels, at the country level, at the company level, and then at the client level? And lastly, do we know where we are as a nation in terms of whether we are risk rated high, medium, or low? Do we understand methodology? Those are my questions. Do we know the 3 levels of defense in our institutions and which level we are on? They are all questions. Alicia Brown or Lisa Brown, I don't know.
Yes.
You know Miss Bullet. Miss Bullet, you know you. Remind me who you is.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. This week, 7, you better get to know me good today. Tell me, answer any of those questions for me. Before we move on to chapter 7, do we understand
Okay.
risk? Risk appetite, give me an example.
An example of the country risk appetite or my company?
That's appetite. When we say risk appetite, what do we mean?
From what I understand, a risk appetite is usually, how should I put it? I think that's how we identify and evaluate the risk, correct? And how do we treat it?
Okay, and what types of products and services we want to offer, which jurisdictions we want to take on. So for example, are we going to do business with PEPs? Yes or no?
No.
And if we say no, we then say a PEP is outside of our risk appetite.
Correct.
Correct? Okay, and if we say, no, we're not going to do business with Russia or China or Afghanistan, then we say that they are out of our appetite. But if we are going to do business with them, then they are within our appetite, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, good. Very good, Alicia. Okay, Avery, tell me about the Bahamas. Tell me about the country risk rating. Are we high, medium, or low? How is the Bahamas risk rated? Is Avery there? Okay. Go ahead, Avery. Avery, I can't hear you if you're speaking. No? Can anybody assist Avery? How is the Bahamas risk rated? Are we high, medium, or low?
We're medium.
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 Yeah, medium high. Okay, so we borderline and this blacklisting could just tip us over, right?
Yes, yes,
tip
yes.
us right over to becoming high risk as well as blacklisted. So we definitely don't want that to happen. Okay, so when Ms. Bullitt says recommendation 1, who knows what recommendation 1 states out of the 40 recommendations?
To identify, assess, and understand their money market risks.
Come on, Geraldo, I see your mic on. Shavana, Bria, what does recommendation 1 state? You all want me to go back to chapter 4, and we can't go on chapter 7 if we ain't no recommendation 1.
I could take a chance.
Recommendation 1 is?
Sorry?
Isn't that where we have to identify?
Go ahead, Shauna.
Assessing risk and applying a risk-based approach.
Right. So we are to assess our risks, apply that risk-based approach, and put controls in place to mitigate the risk. Okay, that's recommendation 1. So make sure that we understand. We really don't want to move on. Let's just think of the final exam. There's going to be 10 questions. You're going to have to select 4 choices. I believe at least 3 questions will be there on risk. So there may not be a way around answering one of the risk questions. So please, let's not move on. Ask your questions. Let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know if you understand or if you do not understand. Come on, talk back to me, Gator. Especially all the people who've been there from intro. Talk back to me, I listening.
Ms. Bullitt, you could go over recommendation 1 again, please.
Okay, so recommendation 1 says countries should assess their risks and then put controls in place to protect against that risk. So for instance, if your country offers bearer shares, or if your company allows accounts to be open in bearer share accounts, we all know that bearer shares are considered high risk. And so the law then says there are two things that you put in place to protect yourself against bearer shares. And one is you get a letter of undertaking from the person holding the shares, who is probably a nominee, and then you get a letter from the owner of the shares, and that letter basically says, I promise not to sell these shares and transfer it to
Ms. Bullitt, you're breaking up.
without letting the company whether or not they want to do business with Ben Laden. Okay?
Ms. Bullitt, you're breaking up. I'm not sure if everyone else is having
sorry,
that.
Okay, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so right, so is that clear on recommendation one, or you need another example?
It's clear, Ms. Bullitt.
It's clear.
That's good.
Hello? Oh. Y'all could have us, but we can.
No, I think she dropped.
No, she dropped.
Ms. Bullitt, if you're talking, I think your mic mute. Oh, she dropped.
Look like that.
She sign out.
My internet dropped completely. Sorry about that. Are we all still there?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody hear me?
Yes,
We're here now.
Is it clear?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's clear.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I don't, the internet just went straight out. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so what was the last thing you were, because I think I was talking to myself for a good 2 minutes.
You were talking about bearer shares and having recommendations in place or controls in place if the company decides to take on bearer shares.
Okay, so also if the company decides to take on PEPs, what controls are we going to put in place to ensure that we protect ourselves against the risk of PEPs? And so one of the controls is that, of course, we are going to put them as high risk. We are going to conduct enhanced due diligence on them, and then we are going to let the board approve them. So each year when we complete their client review, the board then has to decide if we are truly going to keep them on our books. And that's important because, of course, we see Shane Gibson was brought before the courts. he was acquitted. So during that time, compliance would have, read the newspaper, tried to get a copy of the court docket, try and follow the court to help or aid the board in making the decision. Are we going to continue this account with Jane Gibson? Is it a possibility for us to be implemented or implicated in this case? Did any of the money that he is accused of taking coming through our banks? And so you would provide all that information to the board. And if they are PLPs, and even if all the money was sitting in the bank, they would say, keep that account. But if there was F&Ms and no money was in the bank, close it out, right? And that's how this works. Hello, y'all there? That's how this works, right?
Yeah, that's just how this works.
So you need to know your board. You need to know the people that you work with and who they support. And in order to keep your job, especially the people that work for governments, the safest thing to say is, I support all governments. I'm neither F&M or PLP. I just support everybody. Whomever is in power, I support them and let it be. Okay, because
Miss Bullet,
they'll accuse you. They'll accuse you. You must see F&M is Bullet. Why are you always bashing the PLP?
Miss Bullet, but that'd be a lie. Eh? You have some diehard F&M and you have some diehard PLP.
You want your job? Do you want to keep your job? If you want to,
right, Miss Bullet.
No, you support. It doesn't. Listen. Remember now, our job is not only to oppose. And when you say I support all governments, if the PLP in power, you will not make a biased decision because you're an F&M. That's all I say. And when I say I support all governments.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's what I mean. I don't mean, I say PLP undercover, and so you're like, no, I support all governments. I will make a decision according to policy, not according to affiliations or friends, lovers, and family. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Very good. Good. Okay, any other questions? Make sure that you understand. Okay, so ensure you understand methodology. And methodology just means, how do you arrive at this decision? How did you arrive at the decision that the Bahamas should be medium high? Okay, and of course we looked online at the methodology from the Basel Committee, and we saw that they had various categories. It depends on your CF-ATF rating or outcome. It depends on how many recommendations you're deficient in. It depends on how transparent your country is, on your bribery index, as well as your corruption perception index. So we will put all these scores together and then decide an outcome, because of course, no country is going to want to be high risk. And so they're going to advocate to make sure that, that scoring is done properly. And of course, we know industry-wide or globally, there's always a problem with scoring. And I think last week, somebody said, well, we use true or yes or no. If you have two yeses, you are high. If you have two no's, then you're low. Something to that effect. And so simply because kept in Excel, formulas go out, people share the form, all sorts of stuff happen, and then the risk rating is incorrect. And so you could possibly have a high-risk person not being properly assessed, not being subjected to enhanced due diligence, and not being reviewed properly, okay? And so that's the risk, because normally the regulators on audit, they only care about the high risk. The low and medium, they'll say, we'll check 25%, but normally when they're checking, they check 100% of the high risk accounts. So you wanna make sure that you pay close attention to your high risk. Okay? Okay. Okay, so chapter 7, you're still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we're still here.
Okay, good. So let's see what chapter 7 says. Okay, and in fact, could somebody pull up the homework, the classwork questions, and let's look at the classwork question, and let's ensure by the end of this class we can answer that. How have we been doing with the classwork?
Doing good.
You're sure you have been practicing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not every week.
Okay. Well, you should be at least on chapter 5 by now.
My main focus is,
so
be on the same risk topic.
Okay, okay, good. So hopefully by the end of this class, we on the same page. Hold on. Okay, so did anybody pull up the question?
Yes.
It says, identify the risk categories that should be considered on the risk rating form. Explain the methodology and scoring system.
Okay, and so what would you think would be a category on a risk rating?
Go. Nationality.
Very good. Okay, very good. Because persons were so confused in my last class. Like, Miss Bullet, what is a category? We don't know what that means. We don't know what this question even asking. Okay, right. Very good. So nationality. What? Go ahead.
Whether or not
you want.
They're I mean, if they are PEP or not.
Right.
Very good.
Place of employment.
Well, you're gonna have the basics like the name, the date of birth, like she said, nationality,
location,
right,
location,
country. That ain't on the risk. Wait, I mean, that should be on the KYC document, eh?
That's still a part.
All of that is
no, it would still be on it as well.
On the risk rating form?
Yes. We need to remember all of that.
Whether
was a part of KYC documents.
Right. All of that calculates your risk score.
Not your name and your birthday.
No, not your name and your birthday.
But exactly.
That wouldn't be on your risk rating form.
But why I feel like name plays a factor too is because
when you do the screening.
Right.
And date of birth and high, medium, low.
Well, I know for our risk rating form, we don't have that date of birth on our risk rating form.
No, not on there. Not you don't have the date of birth. You have your
we just have their name.
Right.
And if they're PEP.
Right. And we have whether or not whatever you found in your screening, whether or not it was adverse, media, or matches something or whatever.
Low, medium, or high, and then you have to check the boxes.
Yeah. It could also be their income.
Yes.
The nature of the business.
Right.
Yes.
Miss Bullet, go on.
So let's go to the Miss Bullet decides to come back in.
Miss Bullet dropped again.
Drop again.
What's she going? Oh wow.
So what we say would be the categories, what? The name.
Yeah, so
it'll be the name, whether or not they're PEP.
Country,
it'll be classified as low, medium, or high.
High. Their source of wealth, their income.
Right.
Okay.
Whether or not they're affiliated with countries.
We said their location too, right?
Yeah. It on page 45 and 46, you know.
Their nationality.
At page 45.
I'm in 46.
Right. So very good. I got head off again, but I'm back into you're looking at it, the type of business. Okay, what type of business? Are you a lawyer, a doctor? Do you sell goods? Do you bring in goods from China? Your occupation, the length of the relationship, how long have you been a customer? Your cash activity. how much money you're depositing, you know, and the frequency, all of that is on the risk rating, okay? And all that helps determine the risk. The thing about methodology is you just state, I get this information for country rating from Transparency International, or I get it from the Basel Committee. Where do you get your information from, and how often do you update it? Okay, and if you have a scoring system, who checks that scoring system to make sure it's actually accurate? Okay, because like I say, if there are 6 people in the department, normally we're just emailing that risk rating around and some of the formulas are lost, okay? So it's very important to ensure that your risk rating is true and correct. Okay, so I actually have yeah, sorry?
Yeah, BDC internet.
No, I have a live.
Oh, not BTC.
I actually have a live, and it worked perfectly. They had to come and fix something, and it worked perfectly all day. And now, because I have class and I really need it, I was like, okay, I don't have to go to another location because it's working, but I guess it's halfway working. Because am I breaking up, or you can hear me clearly?
No, you lagging.
You breaking up a lot.
You breaking up.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try and get on another system. So y'all continue to read. They ask about the categories. They ask about the methodology. Make sure you understand the methodology. So give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna sign into another system, okay?
Hi guys, quick question. What did she say about the methodology? Where do we get the information from?
She was saying that's how you arrive at your conclusion.
Your rating of what or your score, like I guess whatever you rate them, your methodology is how you got all this information and you arrive to, okay, they high, medium, or low.
So it isn't basically going and getting it from an outside source.
Yeah, she's
it's basically what you get from the form.
From the Basel Committee.
I was gonna ask if so straight across the board, I wonder if all of the scoring is the same. So for example, like if a customer risk is high at Scotiabank, will it be high at Commonwealth Bank? Will it be high at RBC, like that?
It depends on the company's risk rating framework. Because
but that's what I mean. Is all of the companies
everybody
have the same scoring?
The PEPs probably would be high, all of the PEPs, and then you know those well-known criminals, like
but that's criminals. What I want to
yeah, those well-known ones across the board. You go on your compliance department, send down the thing.
Criminals, come on out.
Who's a well-known criminal?
Geraldo is listening.
What Rudy last name is?
Chia.
Rudy K. Everybody know Rudy.
Geraldo, log off.
No comment.
Thank God.
If you call my cousin name in here, we can fight, girl.
Listen.
I swear, I just about to say the same thing.
You gotta be careful what you say for Trudeau. I agree. But I think that for Commonwealth Bank, or no, let me say commercial banks, our risk appetite, like she was talking about, is a little bit less than commercial, because some of them things, but she was saying, I mean, offshore, sorry.
Offshore, yeah. I was
Because
gonna say that.
offshore,
That's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering, if the scoring is the same in
I
a
don't think
commercial
so.
bank as it would be in a
because
offshore bank.
look like they willing to take on a whole lot more.
But I thought that central bank dictates how the scoring is done.
It is, but you could go your policies and procedures could go beyond, as long as it ain't less than what central bank's saying. Your policy and procedure could go beyond what central bank's saying.
Okay, understood. That's what I was wondering.
And how, which I was looking online for the Basel Committee. What site is that?
Hold on, let me
They apparently have several.
Oh,
I think I had screenshot it last time, you know. You can get spanked.
Do not spank that child.
Sorry, guys. Hold on.
The one I saw is Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, but it says 1974 to 1997 online.
Well, the book, so you got to look for the one for 2001 October.
Geraldo put it in the chat. Index.baselgovernance.org.
Yeah, index.baselgovernance.org.
Yes, when we already saw it. We already saw it.
Was I in the chat then? I don't think I was in the chat then.
Geraldo, man, put it in the WhatsApp, man.
No problem.
Thank you.
Y'all ain't know nowhere hiring.
Government always hiring, but no one wants to
Many
come to
people
government.
hiring, but guess what you go find? The same foolishness you have at your place of employment now.
Please go on.
No, it's negative, man.
It's only one circus in the Bahamas. Only one circus.
It could be the same thing. Office politics.
No, don't discourage her here. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Send your resume out. You know, you never know.
Send it out. I ain't telling you, don't send it out. Send it out. But
giving you the
you could deal with the same foolishness without a better pay.
Come on, Shauna. Come on, Shauna.
Speak to me. He's in
the
room.
Right there.
Yeah. He's in the room.
In the spirit.
They're talking about this woman, the queen. Oh Lord, when are they going to let her rest?
Oh, great. I found it.
yeah, government always hiring for true.
Government don't pay though.
They don't pay.
They don't pay.
Yeah, I won't go down.
I have too much friends in government and they don't pay.
They don't pay.
And you ain't gonna get permanent and pensionable not until you reach pension age. So
what? That don't make no sense.
Yes,
no, you know you're gonna get permanent if you in the know.
If you're party,
right.
Because there's plenty people who still in these government offices and they've been working for 20 years. And they still ain't permanent and pensionable, but they narrowing narrowing retirement. So it's not fair.
Try real property tax for the next 7 years. You can
Catch
make
the
it.
brave, man. Catch the brave.
What brave?
He's back, guys.
Okay, guys, thank you all for hanging in there. Hopefully this is better now. You know, I'm back up and running. Can you hear me better? Is it still lagging?
No, you're good.
No, you're better.
All right. I think it's depending where I sit in the house. Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay, can you see my screen? I'm also sharing my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with the risk rating, of course, you want a policy, and again, in this policy, you will document exactly where, you know, you get your information from, how each client is categorized, whether it's low, medium, or high, whether they are PEP. And these are the categories: nationality of the account, because it could be a company that is out of the BVI, but we could have Swiss beneficial owners, okay? Domicile, again, it could be in the BVI, and then the person could live in Miami or in somewhere in Florida. So nationality of the beneficial owner, professional business activity, risky country and risk profession list in determining the risk of each category. And again, it depends on if you're using the Basel Committee or if you're using the Transparency International, okay? And basically the ratings will be the same. It's just that those two international regulators, both of them, they risk rate countries, okay? And whether they're cash intensive, whether there's a PEP status or not, the value of the deposits, and then any other risk factor that you can think of. Even though we may have some persons, of course, if you open an account and you're registered in the Bahamas and you're a Bahamian and you live in the Bahamas, your risk rating may come out as low. And so even if you may just want a savings account, okay? But let's just say you were previously charged with money laundering or you have a pending case against you, there should be a special characteristic on that risk rating form that would automatically make you high risk, okay? And so you wanna put something in there. So even if overall this person comes out as low or medium, we wanna automatically make them high. And we're gonna look at the form so you can see exactly what Ms. Bullock made. So again, in each of those categories, you wanna assign some points, right? And normally it says if you're low risk, you will have between 10 to 30 points. If you're medium risk, you will have between 31 and 60 points. And if you're high risk, anything over 61 to 100 would be considered high risk. Okay? Again, in this same risk rating policy, you say exactly who is politically exposed and the criteria for approving those accounts. How often do you monitor? And then again, there is a grand debate over nationality. We have some persons in the Bahamas that are born to African parents, right? And they want to say that they are Bahamian because they were born in Bahamas. But is it truly that their nationality is Bahamian, or are they just a citizen of the Bahamas? So Ms. Bullitt is not going to go into that debate, but I think you take your mother's nationality, not the country where you're born, okay? But persons have a different understanding. What is important is that you document what your company's policy states on what nationality means versus what citizenship means, okay? And so this is just a draft example of a form. And of course, you would be able to select all the countries that are in the background. So this is a drop-down form where you select, this person is from Bahamas, and it gives you a score. Then the domicile of the person, the professional sector, their business activity, their country of work. And this is where you see special risk in there or operational risk, then that is where you select to automatically make that person high risk. And again, you want to document because it may come across as you would have manipulated the form, okay? And so you want to ensure that you do not manipulate the form, but if you do make changes, you then document the changes that you would make, okay? And it goes on to say initial deposit, future deposit, and you know, whether you have met the customer or what have you. So the important thing is to know that there's like no standard sheet. Each business has their own sheet. They have to have a policy. They have to be able to explain it. And what we're finding out, along with the scoring being incorrect, is that a lot of businesses are unable, nobody is in there able to explain it. nobody is ensuring that it's updated. So if the country is high risk, then that country is going to be assessed each year. So that means each with the Russia and the Irans and the Afghanistan, then you would need to go out to the Basel Committee and see if they are still high risk. Now, prior to Russia being sanctioned, Russia was actually medium, just like the Bahamas. Okay? However, it's up to you to write into policy that we will not do business with Russia because we don't have an appetite for communist countries. Okay? So when you write all of this into your risk framework, you not only have to send it to the regulator. These are our products and services. This is our risk appetite. This is our risk assessment. This is how we are going to risk rate our customers. The regulator then reviews it and either tells you need to tweak it and put some more controls in place, or they accept it based on the products and services that you want to offer. Let's just say that you are a trust company. One of the controls that they expect you to have is that you have somebody on board that's step qualified. Okay? Of course, every business have a compliance officer. We know that's a regulated function. So of course, you have to have ACAMS or ICA in order to, everybody has to have compliance. So trust is a better one to use as an example. But one of the controls, you could say that we're offering trust services. Of course, we have a step qualified person in place, or we have somebody who has worked in the trust industry for the last 20 years. Okay? With all this digital, new technology going on. Somebody has to go somebody has to go out and go to these seminars and find out. I know one or two of you said that y'all are accepting some cryptocurrency payments from exchanges, okay? Do persons understand the risks associated with accepting those payments? Is anything documented? If the regulator was to come in today and say, I think, Gio, you accepted, you approved this cryptocurrency payment. Can you give me some information on the exchange it came to? Do you have that information? Or the exchange it came from?
You want me to answer?
No, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm asking you, yeah. Would you have it, is there a policy?
Now,
because a lot of times, institutions offer new products and services, they don't write a policy.
And that's exactly what it is, because the policy
So this is a new product that you are accepting, correct? From an exchange, a payment from an exchange. Is there a policy that tells you what you are to accept and what you can accept?
There's a threshold that we can accept. I think that they are in the process of creating a policy, but it's not complete as yet. That's why they are just letting it remain at a particular threshold. Now, because they have a lot of freedom with the transfers and ACH payments, that's where the problem is coming in, because sometimes it'll hit the customer account and we wouldn't know, or we wouldn't get an alert until days later and the funds are already spent. And at that point, that's when we'll have to call the customer. But there is a policy being put into place, but it's just not there yet.
Okay. Okay, so make sure that when your company offers new products and services, that you understand the risk associated with it, and you know what the controls are in place to protect the institution as well as protect yourself. Okay?
Understood.
Okay, any questions on this risk rating form?
Yes, I had a question.
Have we seen this? Sorry?
I had a question, Ms. Bullard.
Go ahead.
But while you were out, we was talking about it, but I just wanted you to confirm if the risk ratings, if the risk scoring, sorry, like how you have the points, is it the same for all institutions, commercial and offshore and everything, or does everybody have their own points? scoring points, I mean.
No, there's no standard sheet, right? Because we don't offer the same products and services, okay, right? And so this is a sheet from, you may find that the offshore banks have a similar one, the commercial banks have a similar one, because they offer products and services. But it just depends on, you know, if nobody approaching you from outside of the Bahamas, do you really need to have domicile? You only open accounts for Bahamians. So everybody should be domiciled in the Bahamas. So you tweak the risk rating based on the products and the services that you offer.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay,
Hi,
you're
Ms.
welcome.
Bullock.
Yes?
I have a question. I noticed in your risk rating form, you have numerical scoring system. Is that's supposed to be across the board in every organization, or that just
Sorry,
basically...
I can't hear you. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was asking, I said, I'm in reviewing your risk rating form, I noticed that you have a numerical scoring system. And I'm asking if that goes across the board, because where I'm employed, which is the law firm, we do not have that. We just have a yes or no. And based on how many, I guess based on how many, if it has a certain amount of yeses or nos, then it determines whether or not the client is low, medium, or high. But I mean, like, we don't have numbers.
Right, and that's fine, because industry-wide, the regulators have said the numbers are incorrect, right? Because we go along with these point systems and we don't let an accountant check them. That's the first problem, right? The next problem is that it's an Excel sheet and there are 6 of us in the department that complete risk ratings. And so we share the risk rating form and we end up with 6 different versions of it.
Wow.
Right, and then when we email it, we lose the formulas.
So let me ask.
Okay, so the data is actually more accurate unless you go through the motion of having your accountants or CPA check it and verify that your scoring is correct.
Our risk rating form doesn't include the criterias, not all the criterias that you have listed.
It doesn't need to. No, no, it is based on what products and services you offer. Okay, do you go to other nationalities other than Bahamians?
You mean the firm?
Do you offer a product or service to other nationalities other than Bahamians?
Yes, we do. We offer financial services.
Okay.
But we're a law firm.
Or to Americans as well.
We offer to anyone who's seeking financial assistance, but our financial assistance is purely of opinions, not actually transactional.
So again, you don't need all these categories. And again, this is out of a bank. And normally, if you don't offer cash services, the requirement is way less. Okay, and just in 2009, law firms that offered financial services were required to be regulated.
So that's why our page is only one page.
Cash services. Yeah, correct. And so it may be developed as more things go wrong in your industry. But as you know, like I said, we are very reactive rather than proactive. If nothing goes wrong, then it'll stay the same. Okay.
How many pages is your risk assessment, Ms. Bullock?
You're not subjected to this risk rating. I think it's 2 pages. It's normally 2 pages. It's not long. It's 2 pages, and this is just a cut out of it. This isn't the actual one. What is important is the methodology and understanding where I get my information from, and how am I properly assessing these clients. And your firm would have sent that into the regulator, which is the Compliance Commission. And the Compliance Commission would have confirmed that this is sufficient for the products and services that you offer to your clients. So you are a law firm. It's not the criminal clients, you know, it's the clients that you offer corporate services to. So if you manage some account or you do some type of wire on their behalf, that's who is covered, not if you commit a murder and you showing up in court.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so it's two different types. So it's not all law firms. You would have to have a special license. It's called a corporate service provider's license or a financial service license, and you get those from the Securities Commission. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay, good. Yeah, but it is important to understand whatever products and services that you offer, you want to ensure that you understand the risk associated with those products and services. Okay, so can somebody repeat the question for me, please, so I can know if we have sufficient information to understand the question?
That's question number 7, right?
Yes.
Identify the risk categories that should be considered on the risk rating form. Explain the methodology and scoring system.
Okay, and so are we able to do that now? Shavana, we know the categories.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, what all you already showed us just now on the screen. Yes, ma'am.
Right. And we remember, let me just pull up the Basel Committee 1 second. Let's see if I'll have an issue with that. I'm trying to pull up the Basel index. And so where's the map? Yeah, this internet may be working, but it's going very, very slow. And see right here, it tells you, it covers 5 domains: the quality of the MLFTF framework, bribery and corruption, financial transparency and standards, public transparency. Okay, we can click right here on methodology, how it works. One second. Well, let me click on map and then it'll go to methodology. Yeah, this internet is going extremely slow. Hopefully it'll pull up. Let me try to pull it up, stop sharing, because I think that makes it slow when I try to share. So I'm just pulling it up and then we look at the methodology again. So you'll be able to say, for example, with country risk ratings, there are 5 domains. And in domain 1, they ask about the quality of the framework of the country, the AML framework. Okay, and so basically that's how you would answer that question.
Say that again for me, please.
Okay.
No, say that again. No, say the last piece again. What you say?
I said you can use the country risk rating methodology as an example, and you would say basically there are 5 domains, and domain 1 contains the AML CFT mutual evaluation report of a country. Okay, it finally came up. It finally came up, so let me show you. There you go. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Shauna? Yeah, y'all can see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the methodology. In domain 1, these are the categories. In domain 2, it's specifically on corruption and bribery. Domain 3, and you probably just need to talk about 1 or 2 of them. You could say, for an example, the country's CPI index, or its trace bribery index would be in the methodology. And if you're talking about on the level of the customer, then you would say, we receive our nationality information from the Basel Index and how they rate their countries, or from the international regulator, Transparency International. That's where we get our information from, okay? So what is important is that if you deal with high-risk countries, you are checking annually and signing off that you checked the regulators' risk rating of a country. Because of course, we all know that our risk rating was outstanding from 215 to 16. And at any moment, it is supposed to be from March 2022, it was supposed to be submitted. Perhaps that's why we're being blacklisted, because we haven't completed that risk rating and made that submission. Perhaps that I could see us being, so that's recommendation 1 that we are only partially deficient in. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why they can blacklist us, okay? Because we didn't do the national risk assessment, okay? So you wanna make sure that each year you check. Is the Bahamas now blacklisted and high risk? Is Russia, is Iran, or any other country, Cayman, BVI, are they now high risk? And if they are, then we need to go back to all our customers that are from BVI and from Canada and from Panama and change their risk rating and see, re-risk rate them, and then see if their risk rating would have changed. Sometimes it only takes 1 category to cause you to have a change, and most times it doesn't. Some companies opt to wait until it's 3 years from now.
Gone again.
Ms. Fuller?
I'm phone playing ping pong.
So there's no big deal. But his daughter got married. And so, of course, that guy now is being considered.
I missed the whole thing just now.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
So they need to stop sharing because you break up and you share.
She's on now.
Hi guys. Yeah, sorry about that. I got head off again. But what we can do is, I guess we can pick up at 7:30. We can pick up next week. You can use the time to the next hour or so to do your classwork. Look all the way back at chapter 1, because chapter 1 was where we talked about recommendation 1. Okay, so you should have recommendation 1. In fact, we talked about it in the intro. So you should have came over with a little bit of understanding, and then with the 4 chapters of risk. So try and go through the chapter questions. Make sure you can answer them, because like I said, all of them are past exam questions, okay? And so if you cannot answer those past exam questions, then, you know, you may need a little bit of help. And so you need to ask some questions, okay? Also, for those of you who have not submitted homework, please ensure that you meet the deadline to submit your homework. The homework is past exam question, okay? So there's enough information there for you to practice, and there's, you know, with the classwork, you don't have to hand it in, but I do want you to document some notes saying that I understand what this question is asking, and I indeed know how to answer it. Okay?
Okay.
Miss Bullard?
Yes?
We are to submit all of the homework or just one?
No, just one question has to be submitted for homework, and you don't have to submit any of the classwork. The classwork is just for you to practice.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Well, I didn't get my grade for my homework.
Okay, when did you submit it? Did you submit it last week?
I submitted it to you.
Last week?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you'll get it tonight.
Okay,
the grade
all right.
is gonna come out tonight, yeah.
All right.
Right. Okay, any other questions or concerns?
Hi, Miss Bullet. It's out here again. So
Okay.
when is the deadline for the or for submissions of the social thing? Would you say you want us to be able to attend? I know you did said last week that we have a deadline.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just pulling it up.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's October 6th.
October 6th.
Yeah, October the 6th, which is next class, right?
Okay.
So, yeah. And trust me, everybody is need those little points. So you better try to attend one meeting this week and come get your 5 points. Those 5 points is really matter.
Yes,
really,
ma'am.
really, yeah. So try to do your best.
All right, thank you.
Right, you're welcome. Okay, any other questions or concerns?
No other questions, no.
No? Okay, guys, well, you have a good week and please get your grades in. Like I say, take the time and go through the classwork, and then next week,
Lord, what is this?
It's full of good night because you playing the piano.
She can't even, I don't think she can hear us.
How to answer them, okay? So please start again.
Miss Bullard,
okay.
Miss Bullard, we ain't hear nothing.
You were playing.
Okay, I guess I start to get into exam mode. Okay, sorry about that. Next week, then we'll talk again next week.
All right.
Okay, have a good evening. Okay.
All right,
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.